So welcome to my video. So I'm going to show you how to find the volume of solids. So it says find the volume of the solid obtained when the region bounded by y is equal to x squared, which is the equation of the curve. Y is equal to 4 and x is equal to 0 is revolved around the x-axis. In other words, when it is rotated about the x-axis. So let's imagine if that is the x-axis, that is the y-axis that I'm having. If you were to draw, you can see that the values of x are actually increasing. The values of y are actually, doubling in this case. So it is going to give you something that looks like that. Then if you rotate it around, in this case, the x-axis, so you are going to have something that looks like that. So when it is actually rotated around the x-axis, so it will look like that. So this is representing y is equal to x squared. But when you rotate it, that is 360 degrees about the x-axis. This is the way the region is going to look at. So this is just the rough sketch in this case. Now you notice they have told you when x is equal to 0, meaning that is at the origin. But we also need to know at the end point what is the value at that far end. Now you have been told that y is equal to 4, so you can know what the value. They have given you the value of O. They have actually given you the value of y, so you can know what the value of x is. You can simply say that when y is equal to 4, what would be the value of x? You don't know, so you can use that equation. Y is equal to x squared. So the value of y is 4, which is equal to x raised to the power 2. How do I find x? I introduce the square root. What I do this side, I'll do it the other side. So therefore x is equal to 2. So I'm just taking the positive part. So meaning you are rotating, it is being rotated between 0 and 2. So those are your limits, your lower limit and the upper limit. Now how do you find the volume? Remember, volume is simply given by the integral, in this case your lower limit, which is 0, and the upper limit, which is a 2. So you can say pi, then it is the value of y, but that value of y should always be squared with respect to dx. That's what we mean. So when you're finding the volume, you need to square it. You don't need to forget. Now because this pi is a constant, we can move it out. So it will be pi is equal, volume is equal to pi outside, because it is a constant from 0 to 2, then that would be y, but that y raised to the power 2, dx. So that is going to be, in this case, we can replace what our y is. Remember, the equation is this one that we have there. So it is going to be from 0 to 2 my y. So it is going to be x squared, but again, this should be raised to the power 2. So volume will be equal to pi, in my limit from 0 to 2. So what is x squared raised to the power 2 to give us x raised to the power 4, dx. Then from there, you can simply now integrate. So when we integrate that, we are going to have, when we integrate that, what is that going to give us? So when we integrate that, remember, plus 1, so it will be x raised to the power 5, then divided by the new power, which is 5, and the limits 0 and 2. That's what we have. So volume will be equal to, so you replace, substitute your upper limit minus you substituting your lower limit. So in this case, it is going to be pi. If I look at this one here, it will be 2 raised to the power 5 divided by 5 minus 0 raised to the power 5 over 5. So I've substituted the upper limit minus the lower limit. So the volume will be pi 2 raised to the power 5. That is going to give us, that would be a 32 over 5. Remember, 0 to the power 5 is 0. So this will give you 0. So you can just ignore that. This times that will give me 32 pi over 5. Because this is the volume, we can simply say, cubic units. So that is the volume that is bounded when that is rotated about the x-axis. So basically that is the way you can go about it. In most of the exams, they'll be telling you maybe to express it in terms of pi, so you can leave it even just like that. Thank you so much. Watch out for another video when I actually show you how to find the volume. What is important you need to remember that the value is always squared. So it can be rotated along the x-axis, or it can be rotated along the y-axis. In fact, this method, when you only have one curve, the method that we use to find the volume is what we call as being the disk method. So this is called the disk method. Thank you so much for watching. Watch out for more of my videos.